Hello everybody, welcome back to ResinNet. Today I have a really fun project that I've been wanting to do for a really long time. So what we're going to do today is we're going to be attempting to make some fairy lamps, like a vintage style glass fairy lamps. Now I wouldn't burn a real candle in one of these. I would definitely take a battery operated tea light or something, okay? But I have made up 20 ounces of J Diction, and I've separated them into 3 cups just so that they won't start heating up too quickly. So now what I'm going to be doing is I've got a lot going on here. So let's see, I've got this one is going to be one fairy light, one fairy lamp. And what I've done is I've taken this mold, which is the mold that I used for the pendant lights, okay? There's links to those in that video. And, you know, now that I think I've got a couple of, maybe close to 200 videos, I'm gonna take the time and go back and number all those so that when I'm referring to a video, I can actually just tell you how to find it really quickly. Now this is a candle holder, okay, from a different mold. And I am going to be taking this one and I'm going to be putting these all together to see if I can get this to work the way I picture it. Now this will be another one, and I have a little bit of a different idea for this one. So I think we'll probably just do one at a time. And let's see, somewhere here I've got, this is the base that goes to the pedestal plates. This is the mold that makes the domed, this little display set, okay? So I'm going to be putting these all together. And I thought, I mean, maybe I'm biting off more than I can chew for you guys, but I thought I'd make 2 because I'm going to make them simple as far as like colors go. But I hope that 20 ounces is enough to do all this. But, you know, I think I'm going to start actually with this one. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to take this one. This has got 8 ounces. This has got 6 ounces, but I'm just going to, well, actually this one's got about 7 ounces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this color in violet. And I really hope this works. Gosh, I hope this isn't the one that turns hot pink. You know what? I better just do a little quick test because that's a whole lot of resin if it's a color I don't like. See, oh, that is staying purple. Definitely staying purple in there. So that is going to work just fine. Now I don't want this really dark. So I'm going to do 1, 2, that's about 3. And this is just regular ink. Okay, this is not alcohol ink. You can use any kind of colorant that you prefer to mix with your resin. I would recommend doing a little color test though, like I just did, because I've had resins interact with different kinds of colorant in a weird way to where I've gotten just some really off the wall colors that I would not have expected. So let's see. Gosh, that's really pretty. This is kind of just a subtle color. Okay, it's really still very translucent. And if we want our light to show through, then that's going to be important. Now, one thing that I do want to do is I thought I would add just a drop of this. This is, oh gosh, what is this called? The Magic. I think this is the Pixis Magic inks. I'd have to go back and look at the box, but I don't have it here with me. But this is in Fairy. And I think really what these are more of a kind of an interference color, okay? I'm going to add maybe just a drop of this in here to see what that does. Looks like this one is open. Let's see what that gets. 1 drop. Just gives it a little bit of a shimmer. Okay, let's do 1. Oops, okay, there went about 3 drops total. see any of that in there yet. Let's see. See any little bit of a shimmer? 3 drops. Let's do a couple more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we've got 6 drops. Sometimes it's hard to tell because this is so deep. It may actually really show up in the thin container there, but I'm trying to tell by the, see a little bit of sparkle. So that was 6 drops. Let's just go ahead and do 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10 drops total. Okay, I think that's probably stirred well enough. Got some bubbles in there, I see. Now I don't want my magic fairy colored stuff just to end up sinking to the bottom. Now this is one of the times I would like my bubbles to disappear, and how much you want to bet that some of those will stick around, just because I'd like for them to disappear. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start with this mold here. I'm going to go ahead and spray a bit of alcohol in that. This is 91% alcohol, and I just spray that sometimes in my molds to kind of help prevent bubbles from forming. It doesn't always take care of all of them, but it definitely helps. And what I've noticed, people are worried sometimes about their molds to spray the alcohol in there. But you know, if you're pouring it just straight away, a lot of times you really don't have any trouble with that. So I'm just going to pour it straight in. And all the way up to these hearts. This time I'm not going to do anything with the little heart indentations that are around this. I'm just going to leave it. We can go in and at the end and maybe put some silver or something over the top of them if we think it needs it. Okay, so that leaves me 4 ounces. So that took, this base here only took about maybe 3.5 ounces. I do definitely see those bubbles, but it might be kind of pretty with the bubbles if they do stick around. I'm going to go ahead and move this over to the curing rack, and I'll be right back. Actually, let's go ahead and do this one. So now the way this mold comes is it comes like this. It has the insert like this, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to just fit this down in here and get it snapped on here nice and tight. So now what you've got to do in this case is you've got to pour your resin down inside these little slats here, okay? So it is a little bit of a time-consuming task, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a paper cup so I can pinch the side there and make it a little bit easier. And I'm just going to go ahead and start pouring. Okay, let's see, that is almost enough for this. I could almost go around and do the tips in this color. I think I will. I'm going to go ahead and just pour this in so I make sure that I've got at least a little bit of the same color in all of these that's matching. So I'm going to go ahead and let this roll around in there and get into all these little beaded sections on the edges. You can see the bubbles on the in this, so that's kind of helpful. I see these big bubbles. Okay, so that's kind of taking care of that. Let's go ahead and just do a little bit more in this one so we can kind of top those two off. And I'm just going to do 1 drop and 1, 2 drops of that. All right, I'm going to give it a quick spray and move these over to the curing rack, or whatever I can do around that side there. There we go. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so now this one I thought would be fun to kind of try it. I was actually thinking of trying this one just in a clear. See, I need to figure this out quickly though, because my resin is definitely getting warm. Or maybe we just do it in kind of more of a swirl. Let's see, let's pour this in here. Got a little bit of that lavender left. I'm going to use some of these beads. These are just little iridescent round beads, and I'm going to see, because my resin's getting warm, it's getting a bit thicker, so I'm going to see if maybe we can just like mix these in and have them kind of pour the way I'd like for them to. Oh, they're going straight to the bottom. And I can mix a little bit of glue if I had it, but I don't. So let's see if we can get these to stay. And pour some of this. I've got this little tiny bird mold here. This is going to be the topper. Might have to just add a couple beads to that because I don't think any are going to pour inside. Set that aside for now. And I'm going to let those just kind of hang out on the top there. And maybe they'll just kind of slowly, might have to try to stir them in a bit. Go straight down here. Wow, that fills up fast. So there we go. I was going to say, wow, that filled up really fast, but it's quite done. Look a little bit at the end of this one. Some big old bubbles coming out of that. Okay, this is the lid to this part. Oh gosh, I forgot that I poured that. Gosh, what is going on with me? It's cleaned up really quick. All right, so here's this. Got some bubbles here I can see on the edges. You can see, but I'm going to see if I can push them up. Didn't pour any alcohol in here. The bubbles are coming up. Keep going. Keep going. Okay, I don't see any more. All right, you guys, so that was 20 ounces of resin, and it was just almost enough, but not quite. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up just maybe 3 ounces more and top these off just with clear, since we're just doing clear anyway. And I'm going to move them over to the curing rack, and then tomorrow I'll be back and we'll unmold all of this and put them together and put some tea lights in there and see how they turned out. All right, what maybe I do different next time, or maybe I'll love them just the way they are. All right, I will see you tomorrow. Okay, you guys, I made up more resin. I made up 8 ounces because I'm going to be working on something else too, but I decided to bring you back because I might want to take a little bit of this cherry red Pixis alcohol ink, and I'm going to try something. I just am not sure that this is going to work, whoops, the way I want it to. Gosh, but I'm going to give it a try. So what I wanted to do, I was saying before that I really kind of wanted to have 2 separate colors in here. And I don't want it to be too much, but I am going to try to just pour some just down the center here just to top it off. Because this is the bottom of both. So I just hope it doesn't look funny with it coming out of the coming out from the bottom up. Do you know what I mean? It would look kind of cooler if I'm pouring a color in from it to be going from the top down, I feel like. But okay, that was about 5 drops. And see, I just thought this might be kind of prettier for, oh gosh, that is orange. Very turned bright orange in my J-Diction. Well, how about we add a little bit, I'm gonna add a little bit of this red wine. This is metallic pigment. Do I wanna do that? No, actually, you know what? I don't wanna do that. Gosh, I feel like I did not think that through, but okay, so this would be more like for fall. Yeah. I don't know, you guys. Oh my gosh, that is bright. Bright orange. I would like to tone it down a bit. Let's just take a bit of this, fix this cocoa and see if we can darken it up a bit. There, I'm doing 3 drops of the cocoa. Kind of more of a peach color now. You know what? I'm still going to try it. I just hope I'm not sorry, but you know, if you don't try something unexpected once in a while, then you don't know how it's going to turn out. But maybe I just want to do less of it. So do a little bit more clear. There we go. And I'm just going to try to go just right down the center. I'm going to top it off and see if I can get it to go down inside there. Maybe not, because maybe my resin is starting to cure already. Okay, well, it still is going to add a little, a little bit of color. Oh my gosh, you guys, I don't know. All right, well, I'm going to go put just a little dot of this on my bird lid, and also, gosh, am I going, is that about ready to spill over the side? Did I overfill it? It's hard to tell sometimes when I'm looking at that angle. Take some off of there. All right, well, there's that. Guess I'll just take my stick and kind of swirl this in since it's kind of going all around and dunk down. And I'll do the same here. That's starting to cure. Do you see that? Starting to cure. All right, I'm going to go pour this, and then I really will be back tomorrow to unmold these. All right, I'll see you then. Hello, everybody. Okay, these are all cured, and I'm excited to get them out to see what they look like. I've got a little bit of the color here, the dye and things, in just a couple of streaks here that I thought was mixed really well. When I set these over to cure, these were completely clear, so I'm not sure where that came out of, but popped out of the resin in there somewhere. But let's get started. I think we're going to actually start with this one. Gosh, this looks like it could actually be a little hard to demold, but I've got a little bit of alcohol here to set it up. Oh, we can start with this. This is the lid. I'm not even sure we're going to need this little topper, but let's see if this is even going to work the way I have in mind. Not sure. Peel that off. This part came out really nicely. I didn't get any bubbles up here. I've got one bubble here on the side that I can see, but it looks pretty good. I am going to go ahead and snip off this part of the overage here around the edges. While it's still kind of soft. Whoops, went flying. It's been sitting probably about, oh, close to 24 hours. So it's nice and cured, but just a little soft there. I'll set that aside. The color does come up through the lid, so that's kind of nice. I'll take out the little bird here. This is another option for the lid if I can get the dome to even do what I wanted it to do. Not sure. Okay, in the same way, the pink just kind of comes up through the bird. There's just a little bit there at the bottom. Comes up all the way through. And let's start with this one. Take it out. Roll this backwards here. This is usually pretty simple to come out of there. Just give it a good twist. Oh gosh, now that's pretty. You see, we put those little iridescent, little waterish looking beads around here, and there they are at the top. Now, let's see, I'm not sure how this is going to work, if my fairy light is going to fit down in there. I know that my little tea light is what I meant. I know the fairy lights, the little string of them, would definitely fit down inside of there. But here is with the lid. I used the bird in case this was going to be big enough to set it down over the top of a candle, and this could have been the lid. But I feel like that might be a little heavy, honestly. Could also, yeah, no, I don't like that, but you could do this. But anyway, let's kind of just take one step at a time here. Get this out. Oh gosh, that's actually really pretty. See how the red kind of comes up through there? That pinkish wine color. This might be a little tricky getting this off. This is the biggest part at the bottom. Oops, flinging some dried resin there. Let's see. All right, you guys, I finally got this taken out of there, and let's turn it over and look at it. Okay, so this is actually really pretty, but man, that was tough getting out of there. So yeah, keep that in mind if you buy this mold. Really pretty. I love the way that it looks. It's got a real crystal look to it. Now, my plan is I was hoping that this would fit down that way to make a fairy lamp. Gosh, that's actually quite pretty. Like this. And I brought a couple little tea lights to try. I think this side is going to be, that's not going to work, but it would work like that. Yeah, that's actually really pretty. So let's just set this aside for now. And did you see the little bubbles that are in here there at the top? Those turned out really pretty too. Didn't really need them necessarily, but they're kind of layered in there, coming up like a firework out of the middle. It's actually kind of pretty that way. And then same here, the way these are around the edge. Really like how that turned out. Okay, so now let's get this out of here. This is going to be a lot easier because, for one, we've taken this out before, and it's more narrow at the bottom than it is at the top, so that just right there makes it easier. But we'll start with this. This comes right out of there. This is a lot easier. Now, this is translucent, but it's got a little bit of shimmer because we added that interference color. So, yeah, it's actually quite pretty. I don't know that we need to come in and do any silver or something around, or gold around the hearts, but we certainly can. But there's that part. Go ahead and get this out of here. this little tray. And hopefully we got all the bubbles taken care of by squeezing them out. Made it really easy to see. This is still a little soft because it's a lot more shallow than some of that other stuff. Gosh, I cut myself trying to get that thing out of there, that other mold out. I don't think I have any Band-Aids here. Sorry about that, you guys. But anyway, here's this top. And you can see it's really pretty. No bubbles to be seen anywhere in it, this little tray. And that is hopefully going to be sitting right there on this, about like that. Okay. Now this one, I remember right, this one was a little tricky to get out, this dome, but pretty easy once we get the seal broken around the edge here. And it might be the same way. It might be a little bendy still since it's a lot thinner. Yeah, just a little bit of alcohol just did the trick. Came right out. I'm gonna wipe it out though. Okay, and I'll probably do the same here around the edge. Be really careful when you're demolding some of these things. They can be really sharp. Slicing myself up all over the place. Okay, so I'm gonna put a bit of this down in there, a little bit of alcohol, break that seal. Gosh, I need to have Band-Aids here in this new space. You would think I would have that all taken care of. All right, let's see if we can bend this back. It's gonna bend out of shape, but shouldn't be a problem. We should be able to just get it back out of there. And since we've got the seal broken on the bottom, I'll be able to just kind of squeeze it out of there. Okay, there we go. Okay, pop right out of there. Wipe off the edge so that my alcohol doesn't make spots on it. Okay, so here we go. Here, this is the set that comes together with this little domed lid here, okay? So now together, to make this a fairy lamp, we would set it together right there. And I think I kind of messed that up. I think I meant to do the bird in the color to go on this, is what I had thought I was doing, so that it would look like this, okay? I'm just using a few different molds together to make this one thing. Now, if this is too much purple, we could go ahead and come in and do, actually I almost feel like gold would be pretty with that instead of the silver. So yeah, I might actually try that, and I'll show you what I mean with that here in just a minute. But in the meantime, let's look more at this one. This could just be another hanging pendant light, but that is very pretty. But it doesn't fit like that. Would it fit like this? No, that looks more like a pedestal. So now what we would need to do is keep this lid off and place it like that on here. And go ahead and place the bird up there for the lid. Now that actually does work together, you guys. So what I need to do first is I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of my UV resin here. I'm going to get some gloves on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and take a little bit of this UV resin here. Just place it here in the center. Like that. Go ahead and place my bird on there. So that looks centered. Be a bit over. Go, that looks pretty good from there. And I'm going to go ahead and just cure this up really quick. Okay, that should be on there pretty tight. Feels like it's pretty good. Okay, so then we can set that inside of there. It just kind of rests on the top. It's, gosh, it's actually quite pretty. You see? What do you think about that? It's got some little bit of a different lines at the top than what it's got going on down here, but it actually all works because of all the straight lines on this pendant light and all the straight lines that come down here on the base. Now let's go ahead and work on this one. Now I've learned from the past when I'm doing these translucent trays that when I cover this, I'm going to want to cover the whole thing because otherwise it looks kind of messy. So let's go ahead and do this with the gold. Show you what I'm thinking. I think I'm just going to go around these hearts, and they're not going to be probably perfect, but it'll give it a little bit of a extra color here. Just quick. Yeah, I need to use a little bit of alcohol on this pen to get it going. There we go, that's better. See if this will work a little quicker on here now. Guys, you know, I thought it would be pretty to do these hearts, but from on here, I don't know if I like it or not. Definitely does give it a little color, but let's see. We'll just keep going. There it is so far. I'll have to go back and do a second coat unless I think that I like it just kind of with an antique look kind of to it. It looks a little translucent at some angles, the gold. But yeah, there it is. Okay, I'm all done with this part. And actually, now that it's on there, I kind of like it. It just gives it a little bit of extra color. Now I'm going to go ahead and, before I stick it on here, I'm going to go ahead and do these little balls too. Probably not all the way around and not too super fancy, but just enough to kind of help it blend, help the colors blend together. Okay, so here's the gold on this. Now, that turned out really pretty. I like the shades together. I feel like it looks a little, some angles look a little too translucent that way. I might come in later and just turn it over and do just a little bit of gold across the bottom of these little balls here. But actually for right now, I think it actually looks really pretty, the shades together. Now we've got this base and now we've got this, and that will help bring all of the gold out together. And then with this top, I really don't think I'm going to do anything else. I don't think I'm going to do any kind of a gold trim around the bottom. Do I need to? I mean, you can't really see it anyway. Anyway, for now, let's go ahead and get the UV resin on here and get this all put together. So far, I'm really liking how this is turning out. It's really pretty. Okay, I'm going to do it like that. Oops. Actually, is that going to be enough? I want it to cover the whole bottom. I don't really want it to go over, so I'm going to have to set it on there really kind of carefully. Let's see, get my light ready here. Make sure this is nice and flat. It was a little bit bendy. Feels pretty flat now, so let's go ahead. Let's see, Get it centered just right. There we go. Whoops. It wasn't centered just right. Wipe this off real quick. There we go. All right. Yeah, that's a lot better than it was. But I guess I kind of got the point across of what I was trying to say, is that the last time I did this on that little tray with the stand, you could see the lines of the UV resin all around inside. But look at when you put it flush down on there, hopefully, and keep it centered like I did not. But you can see that you can't even see that there's UV resin there, any kind of a glue. Now, obviously, we can see that a little bit there, but it's not bad. So what I could do is I could come in and do another one of these birds and make a top for this, just to kind of bring this all together like that. Sometimes I have little extra tops that I make for different things, but I don't know if I've got anything that would look right with this particular thing. But anyway, so here it is. Okay, now remember, this is still, we want this to cure nice and round on the bottom. So let's see if we set that on there. This is what it looks like. How pretty is that? Now let me go and get my little tea lights I brought. Okay, now these are just some little inexpensive tea lights that I got from at home. Go ahead and pull the plastic tabs out of these. Okay, I'm excited to see how these are gonna look. So let's start. Turn on this little light here. It's not going to show up really great, probably with all these lights on. So I might have to shut some of them down. Here's that one with that light. Here's this one. This light. This one's obviously a lot more translucent, but let's turn off some of the lights so we can kind of see what this is going to be like. So that isn't too dark in here, but you can kind of get the idea of what they look like with the light in there. And I will get some better pictures, but gosh, you guys, what do you think? What do you think about this? I mean, that would actually be, especially if you had a nicer, maybe a little more of an expensive candle, you could do a little bit even of a bigger candle than this, in this one. That would be a nice gift. Fairy lamps are really kind of a popular and sought after thing in the vintage glass world. And I feel like you could really probably sell these. And then of course, here's this one. What do you think about that? Now this one, I'm excited to see what this looks like in the dark, because you can see the light coming all the way up through the sides of this. Now, one thing I will say is this does sit down in there really nicely, but it isn't exactly like perfect. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking what I might do is come around and just put a couple little, maybe a little shallow rubber bumpers, stickies around, just maybe even 3, you know, like one and one or so, just to make sure that when you're setting it on there that you don't have to worry about it, but it sits in there nicely. But anyway, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you had fun with this project. It was actually really kind of fun to do. Now, I don't think this top here would fit onto this. No, it really doesn't in any way. And that one, the candle, of course, is too big, so it doesn't fit on there. Yeah, no, I just think the way we did it is exactly the way it should have been, and it looks great, and I'll get some great pictures for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to send in your pictures of things that you try that are inspired by a video, okay? I would love to see them. Send them to ResinNet on Facebook Messenger. All right. Thanks so much, and I'll see you all next time.